tap hit. On the pitch, Nashville SC clawed back to tie DC United 2-2. After being subbed on in the 62nd minute, young forward Warren Madrigal scored a brace to help Nashville secure a point in the Eastern Conference standings. After the draw, Nashville sit atop of the Eastern Conference with 24 points, followed by Inter Miami and New England with 22. Their next match is Wednesday night at 6:30 on the road, taking on the New England Revolution. Tune in this evening for the Commodore Hour as it begins at 6 right here on 102.5 The Game on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
For more, log on to thegamenashville.com. Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. It's the George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in on what is, for the moment, a beautiful Monday in Nashville, Tennessee. We actually had rain earlier today, and when I woke up this morning, there had been rain. That's exciting. That'll tell you what kind of weekend I had. When that's exciting, probably not a whole lot going on. Let's check into Murfreesboro. Say hello to Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, how are you?
I'm great, George. How you doing?
I'm good. You were truly missed on Friday.
Truly?
Truly.
That don't sound too, that just doesn't sound, that sounds a little phony, George.
It is.
Oh, is that right?
It is. We managed beautifully without
Okay,
you.
Good.
Yeah.
I mean, I can take a long
sabbatical
time off if you'd like. Yeah,
Okay.
I can take a long sabbatical if you'd like.
Sabbatical. That's good.
Yeah.
So what did you do of any positive for the world this weekend?
What did I do? Oh, it was Mother's Day, so I ordered my wife something for Mother's Day, but it didn't come in, so I had to go get some, I was going to get flowers anyway. Got her flowers and a card, and still, my present still hasn't come in, so I had to, we have to say that, I got you something that you really wanted. So other than that, George, Saturday, what I did, I'm not sure. And then today I was washing one of my porches off, trying to get all the dirt and grime off, and that's what's happening, man.
Yeah, that's riveting. Thank you for sharing that.
I know. Well, you asked me. Was there anything that I did? So I'm trying to find out. I mean, it's just life. It's called life.
Yeah, for those listening, these last 2 minutes of your life, you will never get back.
It was only 30
Sadly.
seconds, not 2 minutes. 30
Felt
seconds.
like 2 minutes. Parker, how about your weekend?
My weekend was busy as we added a new doctor to the Kelly family. That's now 2 in my immediate family. So very busy weekend.
What do you mean, doctor?
Well, my wife graduated with her doctorate this past weekend from Belmont University. So
Are you calling her doctor?
I'm not calling her doctor, but other people are. And she has earned it. She's earned the title doctor. So now we have 2 in the family. My dad's also Dr. Kelly. So I can't call her Dr. Kelly. That would just be weird.
Yeah.
Much smarter than you, obviously.
That is very correct. That's why I did not go to graduate school pursue a doctorate.
Bringing home a lot more bacon.
Parker, you think she ever looks in the mirror and says to herself, "What have I done?"
All the time. Kelly, you're not in the doghouse this weekend, are you? Because the president didn't come in.
No, I'm not in the doghouse at all.
Good.
I mean, I told her we've discussed, man. I mean, I've been married for over 30 years, man. We discuss.
Good.
But shouldn't you have ordered it before Friday?
No, it wasn't not before Friday. It was a week before, man. It's nice, George. Way to go. That didn't happen though. I ordered it in plenty of enough time. I promise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it's the company's fault.
There's no question it's the company's fault, not mine.
Okay. Are you naming the company?
I don't even know of the company right now. I can't even remember the company's name.
Yeah. Okay.
Sounds like he's trying to dodge the question, if you ask me.
No, I'm not dodging at all. I'm just telling you, it wasn't my fault. I ordered it in enough time, I promise.
Parker, do you have an update?
I have an update.
With
it doesn't
some
have a
level of substance?
It has substance. It doesn't get off to a very good start because it's sad news, George, which you already know. We're going to be talking about a lot on the show today. But RIP to Atlanta Braves great Bobby Cox. Won the World Series in 1995. He passed away on Saturday. Not a great week for Braves fans, and I'll let you say more.
No, it really wasn't. I mean, John Sterling first, who later was better known as the longtime voice of the Yankees, but started out with the Atlanta Braves, then owner Ted Turner, and now Bobby Cox. And Kelly, this has been a tough 6-7 days for us, those of us who care about that franchise. And the run that this man had, when you think about 14 consecutive division titles, probably would have gotten more acclaim had they won the second World Series in 96. But nonetheless, man, let's tip our hat, those of us who are Braves fans, to that man, because he did one hell of a job.
And I was looking over some of his stats today, George, and wow, he was and he started. He played for the Yankees, correct? When he started, and yeah, I just and I know we're having your buddy come on, Jeff Francoeur, but some of the accomplishments that he had as a manager for the Braves was kind of astounding.
It is astounding, and he's going to be missed, man. I'll tell you the. First of all, so many of his qualities were passed on to Brian Snitker. And, it felt like Bobby Jr. was running the team. And, for those of us who are Braves fans, it's been a pretty good run over about a 35-year period.
George, how hard is it for a manager, because he did it 6 times, but how hard is it to manage a team that wins over 100 games? That's pretty tough, is it not?
Oh, yeah. I mean, your winning percentage has to be ridiculous. You can't go into a lot of long slumps. Listen,
right.
You're going to hear the same stuff in the future about Dave Roberts, the Dodger manager, who is a wonderful human being. He and Danny are big buddies. I've met Dave Roberts through Danny Evans. And the simple fact of the matter is that everybody just sort of writes it off and says, well, anybody could win with the Dodgers. And there's certain nights where you look at them and you say, anybody could win with the Dodgers. But you know what? Dave Roberts is the one doing it. And there are a ton of egos in that clubhouse. It ain't as easy as everybody thinks.
Yeah, I don't buy into that. I'm with you on that. I just, you're right. It's the Jimmies and Joes, but there's got to be somebody leading those Jimmies and Joes in the right direction.
I agree 100%. So we will be talking about Bobby Cox a little bit later on with Jeff Francoeur. Some other sad news this morning. It was reported that Missouri Tigers running back Ahmad Hardy, a first-team All-SEC selection last season, was shot at a concert in Mississippi early on Sunday. He is in stable condition now. I believe he was shot in his leg. He had surgery, so stable condition now, but not good news for the star running back out of Missouri.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Yeah, but I think I just was watching ESPN. I think he's alert. He's up. So hopefully he makes a full recovery. That's what we're hoping.
Thoughts and prayers to him.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we consider ourselves straight shooters on this show, right, George?
Depends on where we're going.
Well, I have sad news for the Vandy boys. They're not making the postseason.
No, it would take some serious stuff. And by the way, we're going to get into a little bit of what went on there, because the decision by the Southeastern Conference to play in that soup it is one of the dumbest decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't get it. And I've talked to a couple of people that were there that night, and they tell me it was this bad in the 8th inning. So I don't know what the hell the SEC was thinking, but between a group of umpires that couldn't look out there and go, "Dadgum, it's foggy," and a group in Birmingham sitting there in that replay center, you would think somebody with a brain at some point early in the 8th inning would have said, this ain't going to fly.
Did you see that, Kelly? The Fog Bowl, as I believe George labeled it.
I saw George. It reminds you what was the NFL game at Soldier Field? It was the Bears
Philly
and
in Chicago.
Philly in Chicago. Yeah, when that rolled in that day, that's kind of what it reminds you of. Crazy.
Yeah, I remember Tennessee played a game versus Auburn last year on Friday, and it was literally lightning, and they decided to keep playing the game, and I was upset because I was at that game, and you could see lightning strikes all over, and they just kept playing the game, and then Auburn proceeded to hit a home run. It just, I don't understand. I don't understand.
Funny story, George. We're practicing at Middle Tennessee one day, and the clouds are they're right at the trees, and there's this big clap of lightning, and we're still practicing out there. Coach Donnelly's still practicing, and I think it hit the fence, and we all took off running, and Coach Donnelly, you could hear his voice saying, "Don't worry, fellas. The Lord only takes the good ones. You have nothing to worry about."
That is beautiful. That is
he would probably deny
done.
that he said. He probably denied that he said that, but he said it.
He was at our breakfast this morning, Kelly, and I informed him that, I'm glad you got to see me.
What did
I
he
bet
say?
he was excited.
I can't really repeat that, but carry on.
Exactly.
Sticking on the theme of baseball, Tennessee did win the weekend series versus number 4 Texas this weekend. Pretty surprising.
That's good stuff.
Yep. There's a chance, although it's a long shot, that Tennessee can end up hosting. I think they're projected to right now.
Hold on a second.
A regional. If they were to sweep Oklahoma and then do some work
get real about
in the
this.
SEC tournament, you don't think they can squeak in?
Do I think they can move to a 2 seed? Yes.
I think they're already on the 2.
Host, I think you're snorting something.
I said that's a small chance. It's still a possibility.
You're snorting some orange stuff.
Okay.
He drinks the Kool-Aid, George, that's for sure.
The Knicks.
Overdose.
The Knicks, guys, 144-114 over the 76ers. Swept them. 18 made threes in the first half, which is a new playoff record. They made 25 overall. Second straight Eastern Conference Finals.
Get ready for the Knicks and OKC in the final. That may well be what we're headed toward. And God, the Garden will be rocking.
Wow.
I would love that.
The Knicks.
I want the Knicks and the Pistons so bad in the Eastern Conference Finals. That would just remind me of the 80s, an 80s style series.
By the way, Ant-Man last night, Anthony Edwards, in a game that the officials let really get out of hand. A lot of sumo wrestling, the ejection of Victor Wembanyama. They better be careful because that one came really close last night, getting totally out of control.
That series evened at 2-2, and Shams Charania said on ESPN that there would be no further suspension for Wemby. But it was definitely the right decision to eject him for a flagrant 2.
Well, in fairness to him, he's getting beat around a lot, and the officials aren't calling a lot of stuff. You'll notice if you watch an NBA game, what really has changed is when the offensive player has the ball, he's now allowed to sort of create that bump against the defender, which gives him some spacing. In the past, Kelly, that was an offensive foul, go the other way.
That's amazing, though, how the rules have changed since I grew up watching the Bad Boys and all that. It's totally different.
Bad boy Pistons.
Yeah. And the Euro step, is a very nice word for traveling.
It's a walk.
Oh, it's
correct.
ridiculous.
It's a
It's
walk.
gotten so carried away with that.
Oh, yeah.
The Bucks, it seems like this is a headline every other week, but they're seeking trade offers for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Lots of big last names on the show today with Wembanyama, Antetokounmpo. I would expect who? You think the Knicks would be in contention for Giannis, George?
I think there are about 6 teams that are out there, and
Celtics.
I no longer think the Hawks are one of them. The Celtics are one that really need to seriously consider it, because the Celtics that I saw, Kelly, soft, very soft as Charmin.
And that may be validated because they should not have lost that series to the 76ers.
Yeah, but they did. The Knicks would have cleaned their clock.
George, I think you're soft. How about that? What are we doing?
Great to have you
So,
back.
George, I wasn't on the show on Friday, so I didn't get to address this, but didn't you say to bet the farm on the Ducks winning game 3?
And that got brought up this morning by Larry Schmittou.
By Larry Schmittou, that's right.
Whose son called in and said, who are you going with tonight? And I said, Anaheim, bet the house. So
that's what it was, bet the house.
When Larry showed up today, he said, I no longer have a house.
They even the series versus the Golden Knights last night in game 4-3. The Canadians took a lead on Kelly's Buffalo Sabres 6-2.
I watched some of that game last night, and I told George today, man, Sean McDonough, that dude can call
great.
anything. I love listening to him. I tell you what, George, though, I got back into the NHL, and I'm looking at the power play, and it seemed like Montreal had a bunch of power plays, but I know they didn't. You can't score on all of them, but did Buffalo seem a little bit unaggressive in some of those power plays?
I'll be honest, they looked as bad as I've seen them look all year.
Dude, I'm agreeing with you, man.
They looked a little shell-shocked. That crowd in Montreal is really good. They put about 21,000 in that place, and they rocked pretty good. They
had 20 outside. Yeah, they had 20 outside, so there was 40-something thousand people at that game, man. That's crazy.
I got one more thing. USC and Notre Dame are in active discussions to resume the rivalry. Kelly, they're not playing it this year. They've replaced the game with BYU. That game will be played in Provo this year. But since this rivalry started, I believe in 1926, you want to know how many times they haven't played that football game?
How many?
Twice. Once due to World War II and the other due to COVID.
Wow. Oh, wow.
So World War and a pandemic stopped them from playing, and now they can't figure out the scheduling, so they just decided to not play this year. Play the freaking game, please, for the fans. Please.
You tell them.
Please.
Are you done?
Thank you. Yes.
Okay, after the break, you're going to hear some great stories about Bobby Cox, the recently passing away manager of the Atlanta Braves. Jeff Francoeur played for him in his 20s. I want to say Jeff would have been like age 21 to about 25 when he played for him. And Jeff just speaks in such reverent tones about him. I think you'll really enjoy the interview. Then we'll get into the Fog Bowl a little bit. And then Joe Rexrode from The Athletic will join us at 4 o'clock. We'll open the phones around 4:25. We got a full menu on a Monday. This is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
At Wilson Bank and Trust, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between personal service and digital solutions. As your local independent bank, we're proud to offer the relationships and trusted service you expect, along with the tools and technology that keep you moving forward. So whether you're growing a business, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Because this isn't just where we work, it's where we live too. Wilson Bank and Trust, here to get you there. Member FDIC.
Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Tracks machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
ESPN Radio lives here. Your sports live here on ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
Ladies and gentlemen, please direct your attention to Grace Vision.
So I believe I'm right that was the last time Bobby Cox ever made an appearance at Truist Park about a year ago. And with that in mind, we bring one of his former players, Jeff Francoeur, to our microphones. Jeff, how are you?
Man, I'm good. Just, George, something you don't know about, just chasing 4 kids around all day.
Okay, so Jeff, the person next to me is former NFL quarterback Kelly Holcomb. Kelly is very cynical. He can be downright negative, but he wanted the opportunity to ask an important question.
Jeff, can you hear me? You got it?
Yeah, I got you.
How in the world did you and George become buddies? Because I saw you at his bowling deal one night, and I'm like, this guy. Well, like, what has he got? Like, has he blackmailed you some way? Like, what's going on? And then he calls everybody soft. George calls everybody soft, and George is soft. He calls all these teams soft.
Well,
I don't know. It's just like it's very odd to me that he's got a guy that played in the major leagues for as long as you did to be his buddy, which is unbelievable to me.
Well, what's funny is George reminds me of my dad, and it's actually really funny because they're both Vanderbilt guys. They're old school. I mean, and George is a degenerate like myself. Loves the action, loves to do stuff. So we just kind of hit it off and have kept the friendship going.
Good gracious. Well, I'm sorry, man. I apologize for that, dude. It is what it is. We all get caught up I've told people this before. When I go to his bowling deal in Nashville, it's kind of frustrating to me because George does have a lot of friends, and that's frustrating to me because I thought George, stayed at home all the time. He just went to sporting events and he never had any buddies. But unfortunately, he does.
Wow.
He does. George has got a long Rolodex, man. It's just he's the quiet assassin, man. Doesn't tell you about it.
Kelly, thank you for all your positivity. If there's
one more thing. I wish we could go back. You need to go back a couple of days, about a week ago, and George had this 1970s polo shirt that he wore, and I said, George, 1970s call, and they want that back. You need to look at it. It's awful.
Should I pull up a picture, Kelly? If you give me like 10 minutes, I could find it.
Oh,
Please do, Parker.
I've probably seen him wearing it at the blackjack table before, and we were too concentrated that I didn't even make fun of him.
Okay,
That's
here
awesome.
we go. I'm just going to do it really simple. You got a ton of stories about a man that I know you loved and respected. Give me one or two that really stick out.
Well, I'll say this from a personal standpoint. My second year in the big leagues, guys, I was 2 for 26 to start the year off a West Coast swing. And you get a little note in your locker, come see me, Skip. So I walk into Bobby's office, right? And he's like, Jeff, you're going to play every single game the rest of the year for me. You're going to bat 5th or 6th, depending on the matchup and who the pitcher is. So just go out there tonight, relax. Don't look over your shoulder. You're not getting benched. You're not getting sent down. And just do your job, all right? And I always just go on that. The next, I think that night I got a bloop single, and either 1 or 2 nights later I had a 2 home run game, guys, and just took off. But I always said that Bobby knew when to motivate, when to, give you a kick in the rear. Look, he was tough, man. You'd walk by him and he'd just look at you and kind of say, hey, pick it up. And you knew. But, man, you always appreciated that he was in your corner. And, George, we've talked for years. I still can hear, and I'm sure people do, come on, Frenchie, come on, kid. That was he was cheering for you so loud. And, that's one. And then the other one for me that I tell people just off the field, Bobby Joel drove an old red truck. And one day they called him and said, hey, there's a $150,000 check you've not cashed. And Bobby was like, huh? And they're like, yeah, we put in your car like 9 months ago. It's still not been cashed. So Bobby sends the clubhouse guys out to his car. And sure enough, tucked way up underneath, bunch of trash, Chick-fil-A things, there's a $150,000 check for a signing he did. And Bobby, like who Bobby is, instead of taking it for himself, he gave it to all the clubhouse dudes, which are college kids at Georgia Tech. So here's 7 or 8 of these college kids getting $20,000 a piece, just because Bobby felt like it. And that's who he was.
Jeff, when you got traded to the Mets, probably the first time you and I ever met, and I'm just peppering you with, tell me about Bobby Cox. Why is this guy so special? Can you tell people about something that went on when you got traded?
Well, we came back to Atlanta, which sucked. I've told you that. It's probably my first, true road game as a Met after being there 3 days was at Turner Field. All my friends, McCann, Bobby and all that. And basically he wanted to meet with me. When I got traded, it's all crazy. Don't have time. And we met out in the bullpen, man. And he just sat there and said, even though you're a Met and I'm a Brave and we're supposed to hate each other, I will always love you. And if there's anything I can do, you don't hesitate to reach out to me. I'll always pull for you. And I mean, I'm one instance of that. I know other guys that I've helping numerous times too. And that was Bobby, man. He cared about the person and he never changed. He was that way when he was done, when he retired, all that. And I always say, John Churls tell the story. Every year they'd renegotiate. And John was like, I kept waiting for Bobby to be like, I want $4 million this year. And every year Bobby was like, just give me my $2 million and we'll re-up for a 1-year deal. He never wanted a multi-year deal because he's like, I don't know how long I'm going to want to do this. And John Churls used to always say, I don't think Bobby understands inflation. I don't think he understands you can go up on the ladder. But he didn't care. He was a simple dude. And it was like, pay me my $2 million and I'm going to manage the best I can for 8 months.
Kelly, why can't you be that way?
Don't have it in me, George. Sorry.
I believe it. Go.
Hey, so Frenchie, man, where did Frenchie come from? Was he the one that made? Was that? I know it's your last name, but like, was he the one that came up with that? Where did that come from?
No, Freddie Gonzalez actually came up with Frenchie, but Bobby was calling me the Frenchman. And Freddie was like, well, that sucks. Nobody wants to be called the Frenchman. So he was like, we're going to call you Frenchie. And then Bobby just started calling me it all the time. And when he calls you that, it's over, man. It took off. And again, like I said, it was funny, man. When I found out the news Saturday morning, I was a little numb to it. I know we've been struggling, right? And we've talked about this. You don't ever want to see someone continue to be a former shell themselves or anything like that. But that night, man, when I started talking and texting with the guys in group chats and we were telling Bobby stories and things he told the umpires, it was like, man, the emotions just came flooding. It's like, I told George earlier today, Kelly, like, I got thrown out of 4 Braves games and Bobby got thrown out of every single one with me. And there was no doubt, in at least 2 of the instances, I was dead wrong and the umpire was dead right. But Bobby didn't care, and he was going to let that guy know exactly how he felt.
What kind of in-game guy was he? Was he like really keen on everything about the game? Because I know he played. He obviously played. He managed for a long time. But like, what kind of in-game manager was he?
He was great. And baseball is so funny. That's why I love Bobby. Is he managed the same every day. And we talk about this now. You see teams play 162 games, and then you get to the postseason, and they start pulling guys. They start mixing and matching. Bobby was so great at every day's the same, whether it is, and some people don't like that. Some people are always like, you can't treat a June game like you did in October. Bobby did, man. Like that game versus Pittsburgh in June for Bobby was just as important as that postseason game. But I will tell you this, this players, that means something. When you can look at your manager and he's not putting these extra expectations or things on the table, it helps you relax, the whole team relaxes, and you tend to play better. And that was him, man. He just, every game mattered, whether it was opening day or Game 7 of the World Series.
Man, it's funny that you say that because when I played, you play for guys that are really consistent, like you're talking about Bobby Cox, and like you're going to win some, you're going to lose some. In baseball, you know that, and in football, man, like you can't be like an up and down roller coaster. And I've been with coaches that are really consistent. I was with Jim Moore, and Jim Moore did the same thing every week. But then I was with another guy, and if you won, everything was good. But when you lost, he changed the schedule. It was just inconsistent. So, and I've told people this too, and this is kind of where my next question leads to. I've told people I think I could be a really good general manager just by telling people the truth. And nowadays in professional sports, and it's creeped down in the college where it's gotten a little slimy with all the stuff that's going on, but you get guys that won't tell you the truth. But it seems like Bobby Cox is one of those guys that is not going to mince words. He's going to tell you exactly what he thinks and exactly the truth, whether you like it or not.
And that's why everybody respects it, right? When you get to a certain age, you just want to know the truth, where you stand, what I need to work on. Paul Bird told a great story the other night about when Bobby sent him down and basically said, I love you, Birdie, but you got to figure out how to throw strikes and control the strike zone. And when you do that, you will be up here pitching every 5 days. So go to AAA, work on your mechanics, and figure out how to throw strikes. And Birdie said, dude, it wasn't 6 weeks later. He did that. He called him back up and he was like, there was no bigger fan of mine than Bobby Cox. And I just think that goes to show you, like, even when he traded me, right? Like I remember walking in that room and it was just the pro way. He's like, Frenchie, you've been traded to New York. And actually the funny story is when he told me that, I said the Yankees, and he's like, no, unfortunately the other side of town. And, I always laugh about that, but that was Bobby, man. Like, there was no clear cut. He said, Frenchie, we traded you. Like, you always knew where you stood. And guys want to know that. Guys don't want to be lied to. They don't want to be told, hey, you're doing great, when he's going in the other room and bashing you, right? Like, just be the same guy.
Every great coach and every great manager has like a fear factor. Like, where to go with them. You know when they're pissed off. Is there a story? Is there a story or two that you've got? Because George asked you about the stories, but is there a story or two have you got that he's come in the clubhouse and he is just utterly pissed?
Well, yeah. I mean, there's times that you could see he was mad or frustrated. There's no doubt. I mean, he's human. But what I always said is he would go into his office, man. He would close the door. He'd slam it. He say what he needed to say. And then he'd come out and he'd be like, all right, boys, let's get in tomorrow. Literally, that we could hear every word he said. So, you knew where you stood. But again, he didn't want you to see that, didn't want the public to see it. And that's the way he motivated people. And that's the way he kept accountability, kept a locker room. I always said Bobby had 3 rules, man. Show up on time. You got to wear slacks and a collared shirt, which is unheard of in today's world with what these guys
unheard
wear.
of.
Although George might have had one of Bobby's collared shirts from the 70s. So
he's got his shoes for sure.
And then number three, no music in the clubhouse. And that was kind of his
Ford Ice Center.
He looks like he's on the European Ryder Cup team.
You like the shirt, don't you?
Can you see the shirt, Jeff?
I do. That's what I'm saying. He looks like he's on the European Ryder Cup team. He's like Luke
That's
Donald
hilarious.
and Sergio Garcia.
Hey, go back.
Hey, I told him the 70s call, man. They want their shirt back.
That's lovely. Go back to the picture a minute ago that you put up there. Not that one. The one of him winning. So, guys, that picture is in my rec room. That is the 91 Braves.
That's when they waited for the game out on TV.
The greatest baseball season in history. And they're waiting out what's going to go on with the Dodgers and the Giants and all that kind of stuff. Man, Jeff, the hard thing to believe, that's 35 years ago.
I know. I know. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I just think about it. Someone was asking me the other day, and Bobby was 84, so he started managing me when he was 63. And it was amazing because the energy when you walked into the room with him, like I told a station I went on with this morning, I said, you know what I'll ever say if anybody's like, this manager's better? I always say, did your manager have cleats on at 11 a.m. every single day and not take those cleats off till 11 at night? Like Bobby Cox wore cleats 12 hours a day for 8 months out of the year. I mean, that's incredible.
That is incredible, man. So let me ask you this, because I was looking on your deal, your podcast that you do, your Pure Athlete podcast.
Yep.
I want to, my son. Hey, I got into the belly of the beast with summer baseball, man.
Oh, yeah.
I want to know. I want to know your thoughts on summer baseball. I want to know your thoughts on all this stuff where these young guys, because I've coached kids and I've done drills with kids forever. People always ask me to do it, and I don't want to be a babysitter for your kids, so I'm not doing that anymore. Not being negative, George.
They hate you.
No. I had one crying, a couple of years ago, which I was like, good Lord. But it happens. Yeah, that's right. It does. But what are your thoughts on this stuff? Because you see all these guys having these Tommy John surgeries and all this stuff with throwing. And, we have a team, we have an organization here in Nashville that they literally play every weekend in the summertime. And you have to pay $5,000 or $6,000 to be part of it. And when I had some good coaches that I was with, but I said, I'm playing 2 times out of the month, guys, 2 weekends. I said, I'm not playing anymore. I said, it's not that important. Like, kids need to be kids. What are your thoughts on all this summer league ball?
We go hard until June. Like this year, our last tournament's June 13th and 14th, and we're done for the summer. We're done. I tell the parents, your kids need a break. Your arms need a break. Most of these kids get ready for football. Take a month off before you start practice for football in late July. But dude, I speak out against it all the time. You can't play baseball year round. You cannot. Right. You cannot throw a baseball year round and not expect to at some point blow out. And I want kids to play multiple sports. My son does lacrosse, golf, football. My daughter does volleyball, does softball. So we do multiple. And I'm like, until you're at least in 8th, 9th grade, you're not playing one sport. We're not doing it. Even if you suck at the other sport, you're going to do it just that. Be with your friends and take time away. I mean, that's what I did. I was a great athlete. I was not a great basketball player. But dude, I played for 3 months because it was fun and I was with my buddies, right? Like we had a blast. And if anything, it gave me a chance because I didn't take that as serious. So it gave me a mental break. Now all days it's like, hey, we got a pitching lesson tomorrow. Then you got a hitting lesson at 7, you know? And I'm like, same thing. I'm like, what? Like today, my kids have nothing. Today's a built-in. We come home, we're gonna probably play a wiffle ball game or do something in the backyard. But dude, we're done. Like we're not doing anything else.
Nice.
I was getting ready to ask that, like how you felt about playing multiple sports, because nowadays it seems like parents want their kids to specialize in one thing. But when Tyler Warren was drafted last year by the Colts, you know, he talked about how he played basketball, he played baseball in addition to football, and how those sports ended up helping him be a better tight end, because in basketball, you're rebounding, you're high pointing the football. I think he played in the outfield in baseball, and that helped with his lateral agility and things like that. So it just seems like it helps you later on.
Not only does it help, it's this false sense of, you know, look, at the end of the day, I went to high school where we had a great baseball team, won the state championship. A lot of these kids could have played baseball 12 hours a day, and I was just going to be better than them. Like God blessed me with a great talent. And so unless your kid is Bryce Harper, right? Which unfortunately a lot of parents think their kids are Bryce Harper, is unless they're that, it's like, why would you not want to play multiple sports and have a blast? And then if, you know, I tell people, if you get to 16, 17 and you have a chance to play at the next level, whether it's Division 3, 2, 1, then maybe you take a summer and you go all in. I'm great with that, man. Kids by then, they know. My thing is these 9-year-old kids that are playing 8 tournaments in the summer, and I'm like, and they're like, yeah, little Jimmy's really struggling. I'm like, because little Jimmy's tired of this. He don't want to do this crap anymore.
Little Jimmy sucks.
Yeah,
little Jimmy sucks.
And that's the other thing. Jimmy can't catch, dude. So you might want to start catching Jimmy first before you put him on a travel team.
That was George. George always has that problem when he was growing up. He couldn't catch. Get him out.
Mine knew that, look, his only chance is his mouth.
Exactly.
Okay.
He was practicing that sky hook too much.
Oh.
That's exactly what. And we say this all the time, and George knows this, me with my 4 kids. Like, they're all different. Some are more talented than others, my own kids. And it's like, have a true sense of where you kids stand on the totem pole. You know, I did this great thing last year. My daughter, she plays 12-year-old softball on a travel team, very competitive. And we have 11 girls. And last year, before the first game, I had my daughter write the lineup and me write what I was going to write the lineup as the coach. And we were 1 girl off. The 6 and 7 were switched. And my point to that is these kids, they're smart. They know who's good. They know who's not. We don't give them the credit. And I always said a lot of times if parents and coaches would get the heck out of the way and throw the balls out there, they do a pretty good job for themselves.
Kelly, all mine could say was our child's on academic probation.
Something's wrong with our child.
They called and said, your child hit a parlay, he said, or something in class.
Our child can't read. One more out of you, Parker.
Okay, I wanted to go back to Bobby Cox real quick, because I feel like there's this misconception out there about players coaches, right? And when you think of a players coach, you think of a guy that cuts up with the guys in the locker room all the time. When I think of a players coach, I think of a guy that is tough on you, but ultimately has the best interests of the players in mind. And when you were talking about Bobby Cox, that's immediately what came to my mind. Would you say that's fair?
100%. And, you know, I was telling George this earlier today. You can argue that, you know, Tony La Russa, a couple of these have more wins. You know, Joe Torre has more World Series, but I don't think you'll find a more respected, liked coach in baseball than what you hear about Bobby Cox. And I think with all due respect, those other guys are great. But what you said was kind of what we talked about. Bobby was going to be truthful with you. Sometimes it hurt. Sometimes you don't want to hear that. You know, you've heard Andrew Jones talk about when he got yanked out of center field that game. And Bobby said, I love you like a son, but you're gone. And you need that. We all need that from a coach. But the greatest thing was we knew Bobby loved us and he cared and wanted us to the best and to be valued. So what was he able to do? Really coach us hard because of that. We didn't care. You know, I've started 332 straight games for the Braves. And I always said I couldn't walk into Bobby's office and tell him I needed a day off. Like, it just wasn't in my DNA, because I'm like, like going to my dad and telling him I can't do something. Like, you just didn't have it in you. And that's myself alone, all those guys, that's how they felt when they played for Bobby.
Okay, we end it here. Thank you for doing this. I know this one is hard because of how you felt about him. What a great leader he was. I mean, we haven't even brought up 14 consecutive division titles. The only person that we will ever see in our lifetime that might do that, Dave Roberts.
Yeah. No, and I love it. A lot of people forget that Bobby was GM of the Braves. And one of the main reasons they got rid of him was because they said he would call and try to negotiate guys, and the guys would be like, well, this is what I want. And he'd be like, all right, well, I'll give it to you. Like, he had no negotiation skills. And so finally they were like, maybe we need to put him. I say it's the two greatest moves the Braves ever made, man. They brought Sherholtz down from Kansas City, and he paired with Bobby Cox, and they were the perfect pair. It doesn't happen anymore in the game. You had a GM who Bobby said, go make the team. And you had a manager and Bobby that said, I'll trust you to make the team, and then I'll manage the team. And that tandem was so good. It was so good for so long.
Thanks for sharing all this. Great stuff.
Thanks. George, don't worry about the shirts, man. I'll send you a couple new Braves polos from Braves Vision, all right?
Send him anything's better than what he's got, brother. I promise. Anything.
Love it.
We're getting rid of Kelly. I don't know how to tell you that, but he won't be here.
I'm good with that, George. I can go anytime. I can leave at any point.
We're going to test that out. Jeff, thanks.
Appreciate it, brother.
Okay, after the break, I'm going to tell you a story that you probably have never heard me tell about Bobby Cox. This is the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
Baseball is just like music. You don't believe me? Let me show you. It's jazz, improvised, and unpredictable. It's rock. The crowd explodes like a guitar through a wall of amps. It's rap, fast, sharp, all rhythm and timing. It's country, nothing but 3 outs and the truth. Do you believe me now? Look, no matter what music you're into, the hardest track in town, Nashville Sounds Baseball. Welcome to Hit City.
Sports and Social at Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a racing sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall. You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you. And see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
So, Kelly, here is the story as we welcome all of you back concerning the late, great Bobby Cox. In the winter of 92, and it may have been January of 93, I don't remember exactly, but it had gotten out. In 92, they had this dramatic rally to win the National League pennant. And the hit was from Francisco Cabrera. Okay.
Yeah.
It was game 7 of a series with the Pirates. Well, like a fool, number one, I left early. They were down 2-0 going to the ninth, going to the top of the ninth. I believe I'm right that Deion Sanders had thrown out Andy Van Slyke at home plate to keep it 2-0. But it was Doug Drabeck for the Pirates and John Smoltz for the Braves. Leave early, watching it on a black and white TV. This is illegal, kiddos, so don't do this. I had it plugged into a cigarette lighter kind of thing in the car. And so Cabrera gets this, dramatic, one of the great moments in baseball history. And I admit on the air the next day that I missed it. Okay, not real good. And I caught a lot of crap for it. And about 3 or 4 days later, I said something to my dad that I was frustrated with all the grief I was catching. My dad ripped into me. He goes, "The fact that 5 people give a damn what you did in Atlanta," he said, "consider yourself fortunate." He said, "I don't care what you did. I don't know why they do." Okay. So it gets worked out. And the person that put it together was the great fundraiser, George Bennett, who has passed away within the last year. George Bennett was the great fundraiser at Clemson who put IPTAY together. And then he came to Vanderbilt. What a wonderful man. So he arranged, the Braves came in for a caravan stop, and he arranged for Bobby Cox to give me a rear view mirror in a presentation. Okay. And Cox hands me this rear view mirror, and I'm like, yeah. And Bobby Cox goes, "That wasn't a real smart idea." And I said, "No, sir, it really wasn't." And I said, "I have caught hell for it." But you look back, 14 division titles in a row. I will always claim that if they had won the 96 World Series instead of the Yankees, they got out to a 2-0 lead, that you would have heard a lot more universal, "This guy is incredibly special." People in the South and East knew it. How much they knew nationally, I've always kind of wondered.
Isn't that the World Series, George, that they got up 2-0, and was it against the Yankees?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, and that's the one with Joe Torre, right?
Yes, and Willie and I were sitting behind home plate. We snatched 2 seats that were not ours right behind home plate. And when Jim Leyritz hit the homer, I uttered a bad word. Because they had blown like a 7-1 lead in that game.
Does this fuel your banter at all with Terry McCormick? This memory?
Terry, I got Terry tickets to the 99 World Series, and the late Joe Biddle goaded me the day before on the air to say, "By golly, it's going to be a hell of a World Series. We've got the starting pitching to go toe-to-toe with them. We don't have to take a back seat to them." By the 8th inning of game 1, Kelly, not only were we going to take a back seat, we weren't even going to be in the same car.
It's funny because, you talk about those 14 which is unbelievable, 14 division championships in a row, but like the 100 times that the 100 or the 6 times you win 100 games, that's when I saw that, that's remarkable, because that doesn't happen too much. It doesn't look like in Major League Baseball.
it's hard to win 100 because you can't have any real significant slumps.
Right.
The thing that was so interesting to me, in late 81, they make the decision to fire him. He'd been the manager, and they had been a ragtag outfit in the 70s. You know, you look around at film footage of Phil Negro's no-hitter, and the grass at Atlanta Stadium was a joke. As bad as mine is, mine looks better than theirs did. Well, so they fire him, and he apparently was at the press conference, you know, to announce his firing. And somebody said to Ted Turner, okay, what are you looking for? And he said, honestly, I'm looking for Bobby Cox. I need another Bobby Cox. And, you know, no truer words have been spoken than that, because they rehired him 5 years later. He never got the credit as a general manager, but he's the guy that stockpiled Tommy Glavine and John Smoltz and Steve Avery and all those young guys that ultimately led to all those good times. It was Bobby Cox, the GM, who later became Bobby Cox, the manager, who dealt with all of that. Anyway, I know we got to run. Want to thank Jeff Francoeur for joining us in hour number 1 of the show. When we come back, we'll have Stat of the Day, and then Joe Rexrode will join us from The Athletic. We got a lot of things to ask him about, so get ready. This is the George Plaster Show.
The Commodores live here.
Here's call 1-0. That is swung on. This one is lifted to left field. This one is back, and it is good. It's a walk-off grand slam.
Your home for Vanderbilt Athletics is 102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Long day at the office? I don't know about you, but sometimes I just need something to look forward to. Well, guess what? At 12 Stones Golf Club, the real game starts after 3. That's right. Monday through Thursday, it's the Twilight Special. Just $52 for all the golf you can play. Think about it, guys. You're in your office right now, and you're only a few hours away from all the swings you can handle before the sun goes down. It's the perfect way to turn a long workday into a win. Book your tee time now at 12stonesgolfclub.com.
Hunt Brothers Pizza is proud to sponsor the 615 Open. Get a taste of their quality ingredients, baked to tradition by grabbing a hunk of pizza or customizing a whole pizza. Choose from Hunt Brothers Pizza's original crust or thin crust, then customize your pizza with any of their 10 toppings to choose from at no extra charge. Hunt Brothers Pizza is family-owned and operated with more than 30 years of experience serving great pizza to convenience store shoppers through its store partners. Download the app to find one of their 10,000-plus locations nearest to you.
Spring is here, and as the weather heats up, the sports action heats up at Circus Sports Kentucky. From baseball to basketball, hockey to golf, Circus Sports has it all. Circus Sports isn't just sports betting. It's sports betting the way it should be. High limits, player-friendly pricing, and enhanced in-game options. Whether you're looking for playoff futures or props on your favorite players and more, Circus Sports has you covered. And don't forget to visit Kentucky's largest sports book, Circus Sportsbook, located at the Mint Kentucky Downs. Download the Circus Sports Kentucky app or visit circusports.com today. Must be 18 or older and located in Kentucky. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 429, has a path to a dignified career. Are you a skilled electrician or lineman? Tired of dead-end, low-paying jobs? Local 429 is accepting applications for highly skilled electricians and linemen and is providing the best training in Middle Tennessee. They are the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 429. Call them at 615-889-4429 or go online to ibew429.org. IBEW Local 429, the best training and training the best.
At DePaul University, your dreams don't wait for opportunity. We meet 100% of each student's demonstrated financial need. Nothing should stand between you and your potential. Visit depauw.edu.
Now, here's your latest Fox 17 Code Red weather report.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. Sunshine increases going in toward the afternoon. Morning temperatures in the upper 50s and low 60s. Highs comfortably and seasonably in the mid 70s.
Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network. Want to see our smiling faces?
First of all, I'm wrong all the time.
Don't say we didn't warn you.
Kelsey's going to give everything he's got
He's going to do that on wedding night, too.
Subscribe to our YouTube page at 1025 The Game. Watch exclusive content and stream our shows live.
I want an A-plus player when I'm picking in the top 5.
Period.
The Game is on YouTube at 1025 The Game. Subscribe today.
Joe, you don't know ball even when they play real football.
Your sports live here on 1025 The Game and YouTube.
For the love of the climb. For the love of the fall. For the love of knowing your kids' laughter is the sweetest music there is. For the love of Tennessee. Travel safe. Brought to you by the Tennessee Department of Tourist Development, the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters, and this station.
Celebrate 10 years of changing lives with former NFL star Michael Orr and the Orr Foundation. Join them Thursday, May 21st for a concert for a cause at the National African American Music Museum. Enjoy live music from Wendy Moten, Angie Kay, and more. Plus local food, drinks, and a special appearance by Michael Orr. Tickets start at just $25. Learn more and get yours now at orrfoundation.org.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network. ESPN 94.9. The Fan. A Cromwell media station.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Time for our stat of the day, brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. Who was the pitcher that threw a perfect game on Mother's Day in 2010?
Kelly, what if I told you that I think I know it?
I hope you do, because I surely don't.
Dallas Braden, Oakland A's.
Oh, George, yeah, baby.
Kelly,
Look at
put
you
it on the board, baby.
How about that?
That was way too easy. Wow.
You never even heard of
No.
it.
I'm impressed. I'm impressed more than anything. I honestly didn't think you'd get it. I was wrong.
Shame on you.
I was wrong.
Okay. We officially, Kelly, are 1-0, and we will continue our ascent stat of the day. But we welcome all of you officially into the 4 o'clock hour. From our digs at the Fordyce Center in Bellevue, we are joined by phone by Joe Rexrode, who joins us from The Athletic. Joe, how you doing?
I'm doing great, George. And I never doubted for a minute you would know that.
Yeah, you did. Come on. Everybody did. So I got a baseball thing to start with. So, Joe, it's becoming more and more apparent that Vandy's probably not going to make the NCAA tournament. And by no means, and what I'm about to ask you has anything to do with, they got screwed out of the win or whatever, because their bullpen blew it with a 6-1 lead. But isn't the real question why nobody, either in that SEC umpiring crew or from that replay center in Birmingham, had enough brain cells to go, what the hell are we doing? Nobody can see anything.
Yeah, no doubt, right? Yeah, I mean, that's just an infuriating outcome and way of handling a situation. And yeah, you're right. It's, this is one loss in a tough season that, I mean, this is not the story of the season, but that is an embarrassing all-around way to handle something by the SEC, no doubt.
So I know, or at least I think I know, once the lineup cards are turned in, it is in the hands of the umpires. But in college, wouldn't there also be that replay center in Birmingham with somebody going, can you see?
Yeah, you have the replay center. You've got, you have league officials too. I mean, I think any sort of, game management situation like that, I can't imagine that the umpires can just rule with impunity, right? I mean, I have to think that someone can step in if needed, and and cooler heads can prevail. So, but I mean, that is a good question. I mean, that's I've seen the SEC statement about it and everything like that, but yeah, that definitely would have been one of those situations where it's like, you know what? I mean, look, if it's that bad where you can't, where you blow a call like that, likely, because you couldn't tell whether it was a home run or a double, that to me means that's probably a dangerous situation. If a line shot comes off the bat, straight to the right field or something like that, right?
Yeah, you could get him killed. So let me ask this one. What do you think is taking so long in the Preds GM search?
That's a good question. And if they end up with Tom Fitzgerald, which is all the speculation, then it's really going to be a head scratcher, because obviously Tom Fitzgerald's ready to be hired for weeks now. The job is ready to be done for weeks now. So I have to think, George, that maybe there's someone that they're waiting on, whose team is involved in the playoffs. The only thing about that, though, is is an assistant GM indispensable at this time of year? Is an assistant GM not, or you couldn't even, still kind of double duty or whatever if he's still needed in some way? I mean, certainly there's still things you have to adjust to or whatever in the postseason, but why couldn't that person, start, putting his office together and meeting some people, and still maybe be able to still travel with the team or whatever the case may be. But I don't know. I mean, if it's not something like that, then I'm confused as to why you would want to wait.
So one of the people involved, I would assume, in the search is the owner, Bill Haslam. And Joe, know that there's been a lot of water cooler talk about MLB in Nashville. And it appears to me that he's the only local person that would have the resources and maybe the interest to do this. But he's been a hard guy to pin down. Do you get any sense of where he is on MLB?
No, I don't. But the minute that it became clear that he was doing this with the Preds, that's one of the first things I said was, "Oh well, never mind on baseball." Yeah, So, but that doesn't mean that something like that couldn't happen. I still feel like George, a team moving here is the quickest and most likely way baseball happens here. But yeah, in terms of people here who would have the ability and interest to do it, I mean, it's a really short list. And so, but no, I have no sense for that at all. So, the White Sox thing for a minute there, I had some feelings about that, because Justin Ishbia has connections here, and I know some people who know him and so on and so forth, but it appears that's not going to happen. I mean, that would be a huge move out of Chicago. So I at this point, I think it's going to happen somehow, some way, but it's just hard to really pinpoint how.
Joe, what's your early take now that the draft is over, and for the most part, whatever transactions are going to happen have, for the most part, happened? What's realistic for a Titans fan to say, I'll be satisfied with X number of wins?
To me, it's always what does it look like? I said this on our show, George, it's if the Titans go 5-12, but Cam Ward takes a huge step and has a lot of really good games, and the Titans lose some shootouts, and their defense is not as good as you hoped. But Cam Ward to Carnell Tate, okay, that's something. That's going to be a connection for years, all that stuff. To me, that's way better than they go 9-8 and win a bunch of 16-13 games because the defense is good. Yeah, Robert Saleh can coach defense. There it is again. But Cam Ward's pretty bad, and there's serious questions about him going into year 3. Okay, but if you just are going to say no other context, what's the number? I think maybe 7. Like I think you got to get to 7. Because you get to 7. That means, to me, it's like, is there a chance that in December you play games that have any meaning? That in December, when they show little graphics with all the teams that are in the hunt, the Titans helmet is in there. I think that's important, just to have a season where we aren't talking mock drafts by Halloween. And, which I think Titans fans and anybody around here could all agree, like, it's just enough of that stuff.
Good stuff, by the way. Kelly, what do you got for Joe?
So, of course, George took my question there because I was going to ask you about the Titans, but I'm going to ask this. Mike Borgonzi was always talking about we're going to take the best available guy, and I think everybody thought that that they were going to take Jeremiah Love, and he got drafted right in front of him. Do you think those guys panicked, or do you think they felt like Carnell Tate was the best guy left on the board? Because you look at, they need a safety as well, and you look at the Caleb Downs kid who was at Alabama, and then he went to Ohio State. And, it seems to me like he's like Mr. Everything, Mr. All-World, listen to Nick Saban, listen to some guys. But do you think they panicked in that situation and just went for Carnell Tate? Or are they talking about we're taking on the best board on, the position that we need? Where does it go from there?
Yeah, I think it's more the second thing. I don't think they panicked. I think that, it's funny. There's, as you know, there's misinformation, and then sometimes there's information that people think that might be misinformation, but it's real. And the real information that came out from, a lot of people who cover the league is like the Cardinals are serious about Jeremiah Love. And it appears, the owner of the Cardinals is like, I need a freaking box office draw. So get me Jeremiah Love. So I'm assuming they bought that by draft night, and you're not going to move up to get a running back. So I don't think it was panic. I think, to me, this is going to come down to the comparison of Arvell Reese. As I hear you on Caleb Downs, I think positional value has to be also considered. I mean, I think that's one thing we've kind of seen here from Mike Borgonzi early is, he does seem to have positional value in that equation, with these high picks. And I don't know if it's like straight up Carnell Tate was there on their board, but I think they probably had questions about Arvell Reese. And, it may turn out because, Reese is the guy, everybody's talking about Micah Parsons, which is a totally unfair comparison. But some people had him listed as the number 1 prospect in the draft. I mean, I can't believe they were that far off from what a lot of people thought about him, but he still hadn't shown the production, on the field. And so I think it really comes down to that. They went with the best. I think position was factored in, need was factored in, positional value was factored in, but also I think being a little bit hesitant to buy into Arvell Reese based on early returns. And then, of course, you find out, that the Giants are talking about playing him as an off-ball linebacker. And, I mean, to me, if that's the case, I mean, he better be one of the all-time greats. If you're at that position, if you're going to take him there.
So what did you think about the Keldrick Faulk pick? Because I think that came kind of out of nowhere too. And I asked somebody, was it because he can play, he can play defensive end and then maybe he can go down and play defensive tackle? Is that kind of the, because they always told me when I was, everybody always said this, coaches used to always say this, the more you can do in the National Football League, the more valuable you are. And I think, is that the reason that they probably went with him in the first round as well to come up and get him?
Yeah, that's interesting with him playing DT. I'm not sure about that. I mean, the measurables are great, right? I mean, I think he's going to fit really well as an end in this 4-3. Everything, the length, the speed, all the measurables are great. But it's just the 2 sacks last year. I mean, it's obviously eye of the beholder. Dane Brugger, who I work with at the Athletic, I mean, he had him, I think, 16th on his list. So to him, that was a great value. The Titans got in Falk, but I still, to me, it's like, man, 30 pressures is great, but getting the quarterback to the ground 2 times is a little bit, that scares me off a little bit. We just talked about Reese and not really having the production or the stuff on film, but having the measurables. They went receiver. They also last year went with Oladejo, who, a project. You could project him to be a really good edge, but he hadn't done it, and he didn't do much as a rookie. So it's going to be interesting. Falk did have the 7 sacks the year before, so at least there was some better production previously. But it's a move up to get him. That's saying something. And to me, I mean, this cannot be another Oladejo type situation. This has got to be a day one. Okay, now I see what they're doing with this kid because he can play right now.
So, Joe, this is really what I want to ask you. George got to talking about the Titans, and it got my brain flowing. But the American Football Coaches Association met last week, I think, or a couple of weeks ago. But they came back with, their recommendations for what's going on in the college football playoff. Now, we know that has nothing to do with the college football playoffs, what they say. But what are your thoughts about when they say eliminating championship games? Because we've talked about that, and if you're a coach now and you want the ultimate goal is to win a national championship, you don't want to play any more championship games because that could hurt you. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. I mean, I've thought, that these championship games probably have to go, even with the 12, just because, you get to the point where it's like, man, so you're going to go in there and just get absolutely banged up while these teams are going to sit. I mean, Lane Kiffin said it last year. He's like, I don't want to make the championship game. He didn't want his team to get banged up. I mean, you hate to hear stuff like that because winning an SEC championship should mean something. Winning a conference championship should mean something. But this is the whole problem. I mean, the problem is these guys who have mangled the sport with conference expansion and going out and gobbling up these teams. And so you have way too many teams. You can't have a reasonable league race anymore. You can't have a reasonable championship game anymore because, I mean, look at the ACC and their stupid tiebreakers, right? So you're already devaluing the game with ridiculously big conferences with teams all over the country. That's the bottom line problem of everything. Kelly, obviously, if they go to 24, a 2014 playoff, I mean, this is certainly a part of that, which makes me cringe every time I say it. I mean, I just hate the idea of 24 teams. But I think these are going to be eventually gone. But the other thing about it is, we always talk about greed and this is for the money and everything. Well, the SEC championship is still a huge moneymaker. The SEC championship games ratings were better than I think every first, or maybe all but 1 or 2 early round playoff games. So you're giving that up. Are you going to replace it? If you replace that with, Iowa against TCU, is that going to do better? I mean, that's the thing too, right? And the Big Ten championship game last year did great too. That turned out, that was a special one, I think, with Ohio State and Indiana. But that's the one thing that's kind of making people, pause a little bit. Like, are we sure? But I do think it's going to happen. And you're just going to have, you're going to have league championships that in some cases you're going to have a 4-way tie and, in the 18-team league. And again, they just mangled the sport. And then you just have all these unintended consequences that come from it. But that doesn't mean that they should be trying to go to 24. I mean, the Big Ten commissioner is just completely out of his mind.
Joe, this is a little bit of a long-winded question, so just bear with me for just a second. As you know, no good thing can last forever. As our beloved NCAA tournament expanded to 76 teams last week, Ross Dellinger, who does a great job reporting on this for Yahoo Sports, put out an article, and there was a line that I wanted to read. The NCAA tournament expansion will add $300 million in additional revenue over the final 6 years of the contract with their TV partners, Warner Bros., Discovery, and CBS. So I'm thinking, okay, they're expanding this thing to make a little bit more money because they say we need more money to be able to operate in this new age of NIL, transfer portal, and things like that. But at the same time, I'm seeing, the SEC and ESPN sign these massive deals together, and the Big Ten signing these deals with Fox and NBC and all these different things. But we're not seeing the money. We're not seeing how it's being used. So do you think these power brokers, these people in charge, they're viewing the NCAA tournament, the college football playoff, as an ATM machine to be able to make more money to fix mistakes they've made in handling finances previously?
Yes, and I think that's definitely the case, Parker, with the football expansion, because as I just said, you're getting rid of you get rid of some of these conference championship games that do well. The replacement doesn't match up, but you also, if you add it all together, if you have that many playoff games, you're going to make more money, right? You're going to have more inventory, and of course, they're also trying to figure out ways to not go against the NFL. That's, they kind of ran into that last year, and that's going to probably require a calendar change. But yeah, to answer your question, for sure with football, that's part of the deal is maximizing revenue. But the thing is, the people who are now behind it are the coaches, right? So the coaches put out their statement, and the coaches are looking at it like, well, if I can get into the playoff now every 2-3 years, my job security is better. That's what, right? Even though I disagree with that mindset, because we all know how mediocre so many teams are that would get into a 2014 playoff, but that's how the coaches look at it. Same way in basketball. So to answer your question in basketball, everything is money, but I think with basketball, that issue is more just access. Look, all the mid-major schools and conferences, they wanted expansion. Now, does that mean they're going to be the primary beneficiary? No, but they want it because it's still more opportunity to possibly get in. Maybe Belmont gets in last year. Indiana State gets in 2 years ago in a 76. But then, the Power League want it too. They want more access. You talk about mistakes, Parker. One of the mistakes is you have these massive leagues, and now it's like, well, we should be getting more than half of our members in to the NCAA tournament, shouldn't we? So Georgia fans or whoever, the power leagues want this too, so they can get more of their middling teams in. You do get more money. It's a money thing, but I think it's also just more of a just access in general to this tournament. And everyone just determined that they should do this, and it was a good idea. And no one ever asked a college basketball fan one question about it. So everyone else we all just get to sit here and take it.
I kid you not. I heard an interview with Kirby Smart last week, and I swear he contradicted himself because, he said that he wanted the playoff airtight because, let's take a team like a Texas or a Notre Dame in college football last year. They could have made a run if they gotten into the tournament, and a team like Georgia, who won the SEC, doesn't want to have to face a team that could potentially get hot. So they want that thing airtight as possible. But at the same time, he said that he was in favor of more than 12 teams being in the college football playoffs. So I get that, they want more job security. If it's a 2014 playoff, they can get in. So I guess if you were college football commissioner, what's the perfect number of teams for the playoff?
I might do 8. I think I'd be okay with it now. I'd be okay with 12. To me, the max was always 16. It kind of felt like eventually it'll probably get to 16 and fine. Okay, be at 16. 24, no. 24, first of all, again, there should be some exclusivity here. And I just don't want 4-loss teams getting into this thing, and that's what'll happen. And also, again, when you get to that point, you are going to be talking about some of these top teams that really have, you can have buys locked up, with 2-3 weeks left in the season. And so then what does that do to some of these games late in the year for the team that has national championship aspirations and is playing completely meaningless games? Now, again, are these games really meaningless? Some people would argue it's still college football. It's still a rival and 80,000 people on your campus, and it's going to be just the same. I hope so, but is that how a coach looks at it, who has a team that can win it all? I don't know. But I think I'd probably go 8. I mean, I think 8. Look, I agree with you. Like last year, I think Texas could have made, there were teams that could have made a run. Notre Dame, Vanderbilt. You get to 25, 26, 27, we're not going to be talking about teams that can make a run. No way. The teams that are also receiving votes, they're not making a run, So I might be okay with 12, but I think I'd probably go 8.
And that's my thing. And this will be my last one. I view my college football worldview has always been based on the regular season. What can we do to, have the utmost importance once we get to November, right? I don't ever want to see a team resting their starters in November. And that's my fear if we were to expand to a 2014 playoff. But it seems like the people, whoever are making these decisions, right? They're nameless, they're faceless. We don't see who they are. We don't know who they are. But it seems like whenever they're making these decisions, the two things that never come up in these conversations, you mentioned it already, the fans, right? What do the fans want? The people that are viewing these games and are ultimately determining your ratings, and the players. Those two things never come up.
Right. And I'll tell you, we do have some names and faces. I mean, Tony Petitti, the Big Ten he's been the guy who has, and he pushed the 20, of course, he pushed the, more bids for the SEC Big Ten, all the auto bid stuff. And that luckily got shut down. And now he's all over the 24. I mean, it's his idea. And I'll give Greg Sankey credit. Both of those guys are part of the problem when it comes to the NCAA tournament. Greg Sankey deserves as much blame as anyone for that. But he is at least pushing back on the 24 against Tony Petitti. So in this instance, I hope Greg Sankey wins. But you're absolutely right, Parker. I mean, the player, and this is where, at some point, I mean, they're constantly talking about, capping the money and the movement, all that stuff. And that's fine. I think I think it would be good for the sport, but you can't do that unless they agree to it, right? So they need to have a voice. And I think at some point it's going to have to get to some kind of an organized labor situation. And then maybe then, the players are going to have a say, just like in the NFL. Even though they're not going to win, they're going to fight initially against the 18th game. Then they're going to get more money for it, and they're going to have an 18th game. But at least there's some give and take with that, and that needs to be there at some point in college football.
Joe, thank you as always. Good of you to come on here and solve all the world's problems. I don't know if you solved any, but maybe you started a couple.
Hey, I'm good at complaining, okay? So at least we have that.
Hey, thanks for coming on.
All right.
Okay, after the break, we're going to open up the phone lines. And I got a feeling a lot of people have got a lot of things on their mind. So here goes. Looking for red-blooded Americans who want to talk sports at 615-759-9949. One more time, 615-759-9949. We'll take your phone calls next on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com. You've heard me talk about the putting zone. Well, guess what? It's now open, and it offers a revolutionary indoor golf experience featuring state-of-the-art putting surfaces designed to replicate real-world course conditions. It allows players of all skill levels to practice, compete in tournaments, and connect year-round. Go by and see them at 3040 Sidco Drive and tell them Plaz sent you. Are you looking for expert medical care in Nashville without leaving your home? Medical House Calls brings concierge-level health care directly to your door. Whether you need urgent attention, ongoing primary care, revitalizing IV therapy, or medically guided weight loss, our experienced providers are just a phone call away at 615-838-2375 or go online, medicalhousecalls.com. It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
ESPN Radio lives here. Your sports live here on ESPN 94.9 The Fan.
Mr. Telephone Man, there's something wrong with my line. When I dial my baby's number, I get a click every time.
Okay, as I look at the phone call jobby, I guess that's the phone screen. Got two lines that are still open and would love for two more of you to jump in at 615-759-9949. You got something on your mind? Let's hear about it. We'll get to you pretty quickly. Tony in Nolensville, get us started.
Good afternoon, gentlemen, and I like to use the word gentlemen because all of you are. Parker, first of all, in your update, buddy, you left something out that's pretty dear to all of us around here.
What is it, Tony?
Brant Snedeker winning his
Brant Snedeker
win. Do what?
That's right. You're right. You're right, Tony. Brant Snedeker won his 10th tournament on the PGA Tour.
How about that?
Over 2,800 days passed since his last win, and winning it at 45 years old and all the troubles and injuries that he's gone through, pretty remarkable. And you could see the emotions. They just poured out of him. And because Brad is really thought of highly around here. So just wanted to say that would have been nice in the update. You would have got a lot of points on that, but it's kind of, it got about a C rating. It could have had an A rating.
Oh, come on, Tony. A C? No, at least give me a B plus.
All right, I'll give you a B. I'll give you a B. No, it was, but yeah, that was awful good to see Brant come through there and win that, and I think everybody was happy to see that. So, and so now on to Vanderbilt, guys. George, you talked about it. My phone was blowing up the other night. I think sometimes the eighth inning should have never have started. And being it did, everybody wants to talk about the home run that was not called the home run, but metrics indicate it was. However, I don't think we wouldn't have ever been in that predicament hoping that home run went out of the park because of the fact we blew a 5-run lead in the eighth inning once again. And so I'm not putting nothing on the SEC or the umpires or anybody. We need to look and take blame of ourselves. And then, you've got a fan running around and hold the ball, so this is a home run ball. Whenever have the umpires listened to the fans want to dictate an outcome of a game? Never. They don't even they don't hear us when we're hollering and griping about balls and strikes, when we're booing them on that. So, I mean, it was just.
Tony, let me stop you on one piece of this, though. Okay? Whatever went on in the game, I don't really care. that's not going to be where you're going to hear me go with this, because there's enough blame to go around. If Vandy's bullpen isn't good enough to hold a 6-1 lead, they don't deserve to win the game anyway. But for God's sake, for the fact that the Southeastern Conference had 4 umpires who couldn't look out there and go, man, this is pretty bad. For a replay group in Birmingham to not have enough common sense to buzz the umpires and say, hey, what are we doing here? This doesn't look good. And, I mean, really? I mean, we're sitting here talking about what a great conference it is, and we can't make that decision?
That's where I have a question also. And I'm with you on that same line of thought. When they called Corbin and Missouri's head coach there together, what were they discussing? Why was the game even allowed to continue? Why is one of those coaches not raising hell, saying this is too dangerous for my players to be in this out here in this mess?
Yeah, I don't have the answer to that. But I
have a problem. All parties involved, I think, were at fault on that. I really do.
Yeah, look, I don't know. I don't know what the SEC was thinking. I'm sure that they try hard to get all the games in. But I had a friend of mine who was at the game who told me that in the 8th inning, honestly, it was no better than what I saw in the 9th inning. And I'm like, what level of common sense did the Southeastern Conference use in a game where you could look before this guy Holcomb, before Braden Holcomb ever hit the homer? If you look at that field, you're sitting there going, what in the hell are they doing out there?
George, the fog had done dropped below the lights in the 8th inning. In the 8th inning, you're right. You're absolutely right. And I don't know what in common sense, whoever was allowed this to start the 8th inning and then to continue on to try to play in the 9th, because it was ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And but then on to the whole series for the weekend. Vanderbilt, if you can't go beat Kelly, George, and Parker, we've gone from number 1 seed in the tournament last year, which is a different team. I know that. We all know it. But you've gone from a number 1 seed in the SEC tournament last year to getting beat by the worst program of 4, the Power 4 conference, the worst program in all 4 of them, and they manhandled you. They dominated you truly, and you lost a series, the first lost series to them in a long time, and their first home win series, talking about Missouri, their first home win series, George, I think, in 2 years. And all Corbin's response is we've just got to go back and regroup. Well, if you've got to go back and regroup, and I'm not getting on Tim Corbin here, but I'm saying this, and I addressed last week how I feel about Tim Corbin. But if you've got to state to your fan base, we got to go back and regroup. Well, if you've got to do that in the last week of the season, you just might as well call us who we really are, and that's Humpty Dumpty. Because I don't think all the King's men could fix and put together, put Humpty Dumpty back together and fix these problems. But with that being said, they still got to play this weekend, South Carolina. How much it means, I don't think much. And then firstly, get the season over at the SEC tournament, which we've played well. But I think this year is not one of those years. So we'll leave you on that, but I did want to touch on Brant Snedeker. That was a great positive for Vanderbilt this weekend, too. See you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. So, Kelly, I know this is going to come up. If people are looking for me to say there needs to be a coaching change, I'm not doing it.
Yeah, no.
And I'll tell you why I'm not doing it. Because this man has earned the right to
Yes.
fix whatever ails this program. Because I remember how crappy Vanderbilt baseball was before he got here.
Right.
Okay. We can, nobody was screaming and yelling 20 years ago about how bad it was before he got here. And he's won 2 national championships at this school. I don't see anybody else doing it unless you want to include bowling.
Yeah, I know, George. That's and it's funny how this time and era right now that we're in, like, we talked about Bobby Cox, and Bobby Cox was there for 21 years. And nowadays, if you have a season like the Vanderbilt Commodores are having, which I know people are upset, and they're not used to this because Tim Corbin has been there. He's won games. He's won 2 national championships. He's been in he's got the longest streak of going to the NCAA tournament. But everybody wants to look to fire the coach or fire the manager, and it just doesn't work like that. Now, I don't know what's going on. You're closer to it than me, George. I know that they've had injuries this year, and you said pitching wasn't up to snuff like it normally is. Like, that's kind of been the mainstay for Vanderbilt. But, like, you can't sit here and say, I want Tim Corbin gone, because he deserves, like you said, deserves the right, because he's done so much there. And who else in Vanderbilt sports has won 2 national championships?
Let's go to Frank in Smyrna. Frank, welcome in.
Thanks, guys. And I think you all know what I've called to talk about here. So we'll just get this party started. But first of all, as far as Tim Corbin goes, let me just say, George, you're dead on right. Kelly, you're dead on right. Anybody that wants Tim Corbin to be fired, you know what? Turn in your fan card at Vanderbilt. You're not a Vandy fan, as far as I'm concerned. You're not a real fan. I mean, he deserves the right to fix, like you said, whatever the problem is. I mean, clearly the pitching's bad, I trust him. I mean, he's forgot more baseball than we're ever going to know. I mean,
right. And let me say this, I'm not aiming this at Tony at all. I'm just aiming this at the general talk, because clearly there's a level of unhappiness about where their program is. And all I'm going to say is, 20 years ago, that program sucked until he got there. It was at times embarrassing how bad it was. So I'm going to stand up and say, you know what? He's earned the right to fix it.
I completely agree. That's no knock on Tony. I do know Tony, and over there in Nolensville, and I know I'm with you on that. That's no knock on him. I don't blame him for being upset. He pays his hard-earned money. He goes to those games. He's got every right to be upset. But, I just don't believe the problem, the what ails him is a coach, is fixing is a coaching change. I just do not. And but anyway, I called to talk about my beloved Atlanta Braves, and they're still getting it done on the field. Obviously, going to LA and winning 2 out of 3. That's impressive. We had a right fielder that knocked himself, I think, about 3 hours back toward Atlanta. Did you see that catch Eli White made yesterday?
Oh, my goodness.
He just head first into the wall. The first thing I said is I hope he gets up. That was unbelievable. But, the news about Bobby Cox, I knew it was coming. I happened to be at the final, or his final public appearance in Atlanta, which was a game last August in Truist Park when they honored the 1995 team. And my wife and I happened to be standing there waiting to go up to our seats on the elevator there, the 100 level. And the elevator door opens, and there's Bobby Cox in a wheelchair and with his family. And I just completely lost it right there. And I just went up to him and said, Bobby, I just have to tell you, thank you for everything you did. Thank you for, we would never be here. This ballpark wouldn't be here without everything that you did. And, I just kind of lost it right there. And you could just tell it really meant a lot to him. And he just gave me a thumbs up, and he wanted to speak, but he couldn't. And it took me a minute to get myself back together after that. It was just really hard to see him like that. I snapped a couple pictures that night. I probably shouldn't have of him, but I did. And they're still on my phone, and that's where they're going to stay. I will not post that on social media. And, just everything he did. I crossed paths with him 2 other times, and the other time he let me get a picture with him and said, I don't know about the greatest manager of all time, but I'm going to tell you one thing, kid. And I said, what's that, sir? And he goes, you'll never meet a manager that got his double snakes thrown out more than I did. I can promise you that. And he looked at me and said, so what do you think of that? And I said, I got nothing more to add, sir. I said,
that's pretty funny.
I said, please, I won't take up any more of your time today. And, he was just, he's just such a nice guy. I mean, he always, if anybody ever stopped him, he had more than the time to sign an autograph or take a picture or just, and he was the Atlanta Braves. I told him, I said, you're the face of the franchise, and in many ways you still are. And I'll never forget him. And I'm going to be down there this Wednesday through the weekend. And hopefully, I'm interested to see what they may do for him. I don't know what his family's wishes are as far as any kind of public, room service or recognition or anything like that. But like I say, just a hard week last week with Ted Turner passing away. I had no idea he was even, I had no idea he was even sick. And John Sterling, I'm old enough to remember when he called games back in the 80s when the Braves were so bad. And him and Ernie Johnson and Skip Carey and Pete Van Wieren, they actually made it, George, they made it entertaining to listen to.
Oh, God, when they were awful.
They were so bad. I mean, they would cut up on air about, was anybody even listening? I mean, it's just, what an awful week. But, no one lives forever, and we're not guaranteed tomorrow. And I knew Bobby's last days were probably about a couple weeks ago when I was down there and for the Snicker ceremony. But I just didn't. I just was not expecting that when Kelly. I was getting ready to play golf Saturday when I found that out up at the Legacy at Springfield. So needless to say, my round of golf wasn't very good.
I got to run. I got to run to a break. Frank, thank you for the call.
George, thank you for letting me share all that. I really appreciate it. Take care.
We will go to the break, and we'll have more on the George Plaster Show.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Are you tired of living with back pain? What would you do if the pain was gone?
At the Dr. Gill Center, we've helped thousands of people over the last 30 years break free from pain and get back to living life. We're committed to your outcomes, and our caring team listens, understands, and offers real solutions to neuropathy, back pain, and joint pain without unnecessary surgery or medication. Choose the clinic that listens. Choose the clinic that cares. Call the Dr. Gill Center today at 615-882-4838.
Let's make your pain-free life a reality.
Baseball is just like music. You don't believe me? Let me show you. It's jazz, improvised, and unpredictable. It's rock. The crowd explodes like a guitar through a wall of amps. It's rap, fast, sharp, all rhythm, and timing. It's country, nothing but 3 outs and the truth. Do you believe me now? Look, no matter what music you're into, the hottest track in town, Nashville Sounds Baseball. Welcome to Hit City.
Hit After Hit has become the baseball store in Tennessee. They have over 1,000 different models of gloves and over 1,500 wood bats. They also have several Iron Mike pitching machines as well as a Hit Trax machine. If they don't have it, you probably don't need it. We're proud to call Hit After Hit the official shirt provider of the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night.
Sports and Social at Green Hills Mall is the new home for our Football Night in Nashville promotion. Their food is terrific. Their TV setup looks like a racing sports book in Vegas. And if you're a sports fan, you can't beat it. Starting September the 4th, we'll broadcast from Sports and Social every Thursday night. There's Pop-A-Shot, great football, and the chance to win a beautiful Mikey's Motors golf cart. See you at Sports and Social in Green Hills Mall. Green Hills Mall.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Okay, I'm going to try and get to all of you, and so I'm going to ask that each one of the calls, if you can, give me a couple of minutes. And let's go to Eric in Nashville. Eric, welcome in.
Hey, George, I know Tony did a shout-out to Brad Snedeker. I want to do another shout-out. I don't know if you mentioned this. What about the Belmont women's softball team going to the NCAA tournament?
Going to play Southeast Louisiana down in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, and beat Murray State. Just incredible. Just shout-out to them. And, George, I know you and Tony are probably going back and forth because you're supposed to open it, I guess, series against the Cubbies tomorrow at home. I think they said the Braves have only lost one series against Seattle, and they may have, split with another team or something like that. But, George, here's the main reason I called. You kind of mentioned it, too, about Corbin. I definitely think he should be given an opportunity. But it's just the landscape of just the whole NIL transfer portal and all the expansion of the playoffs and everything like that. Because, of course, you've got the NCAA tournament now. It's going to, 76 teams. They're talking about the college football playoffs expanding. Because now the SEC, I guess, is playing 9 conference games. A lot of people are talking about the point that's coming up now that if they keep doing the expanded playoffs, are we going to do away with the SEC and the conference championship games, which, of course, is big money. But a lot of people think that if you're talk about expanding the field, there's no need for that. And some have even wondered with the expansion 7-6 team, what about conference basketball tournaments and stuff? Because by the time, especially you're talking about as many get basketball gets played with all these teams that expand the field, you could have a team wind up by the time to get to championship game and play that, and then played somewhere, I believe, about 40 games or close to that, which is nearly about half of an NBA season. I mean, that to me just sounds crazy. I know, of course, it's the way it's looking, it's not going to change, and it's because of money. I guess they're not going to get rid of those conference tournaments in both basketball and football, but you got to be concerned with the expanded field, and of course it's favoring the major conferences, not the small schools. And this looks like this in turn is just hurting the smaller schools more and more, where they're literally now just about have no really realistic shot of doing anything, George. But I'll get off and let you comment on that, guys. Y'all take care, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you, Kelly. Let's say it really quick. We need a do-over in college sports.
Totally agree with that, George, but it's not, I don't know where it goes. It's got to land somewhere. Hopefully it lands in the right spot. We'll see.
Where's the Southwest Conference when you need it?
That's true.
Amen. Where's the Big 8 and the Pac-10 as well?
Yeah. Ryan on a car phone. Give me 2 minutes if you can.
What's going on, guys? How are y'all?
Good.
Hey, Kelly, it was nice to meet you at the FCA Classic, at the Golf Classic in Murfreesboro, Fort Golf Course.
Yes, sir.
I got a question for you, Kelly. Is it realistic to think that the Titans can win 10 games this year?
10?
10.
What are you smoking?
No, I don't think it's realistic, but who knows? I mean, the Rams were bad one year, and then the next year they went to the Super Bowl. I'm not going to say it's not it's not impossible, but it's pretty impossible.
Where did you come with that number?
Well, I don't think it's out of reach. I mean, I think, if they win 7 or 8, that's reasonable. If they win 10, it's excellent.
I'll say this. If you turn out to be right, you could make a lot of money in Vegas.
I'm not a betting man, George.
Go win it.
All right, sounds good. Y'all have a good day.
See ya.
See ya.
Man.
10 games, huh? 7.
Good luck.
7.
Clay in Nashville. Give me a couple of minutes and welcome.
George, how are we doing today?
Good. Hope you are.
Parker, to make you feel good, I'm going to ask you a question, and it's about my friend Mr. Holcomb.
Okay, go for it.
Did he not say last week? Did he not tell me last week to eat sand? Was that the comment?
No, I believe said that pound sand.
Yeah.
Kelly, I'm just messing with you. Anyway, really sad news, George, when I heard earlier today, and that's hard to believe. Maybe I'm not as big a Braves fan as you are, but I am a Braves fan, that Ted Turner and Bobby Cox would both be, gone within, just a matter of a few days. That's really sad news. I also wanted to shout out Brant Snedeker. I'm fortunate enough to know him personally, because he went all the way through Harding and MBA with my nephew. So I've gotten to know him fairly well, and he certainly could have given up, because it's been a long time since he won. So I was just really happy about that. I can't get off, and I'll be quick, but and I'm going to try to be as positive I can be. I'm just going to ask you a question, George.
Okay.
The injuries from the pitchers, things like that. Some of them came back. But if you're honest about it, here's a team that breaks the school record for home runs, and the defense was pretty good. So as we've talked about before, the pitching just never came around. And so my question to you is, do you think where Corbs has fired the hitting coach the last 2 years in a row, do you think there's any chance that, and I personally don't know Scott Brown, but do you think there's any chance maybe that he would make a change there?
My gut feeling is no. Now, do I think they've had some misevaluations on some people? Yeah. I think they put a lot of eggs in Nate Taylor's basket, the kid that transferred from Georgia, and it simply hadn't happened. That was a bad one. Austin Nye not being able to pitch certainly hurt him. From a pitching standpoint, they've thrown a lot of young guys out there. Some of them eventually will get there, but it doesn't feel like this year. And you know what? I'm sure it's driving him crazy. Maybe this is a good thing to sort of restart and say, okay, what are we doing good? What are we not doing good? They may still get in, but it would take a sweep, probably a couple of wins in the SEC tournament, and then a little leniency from the committee. And on that, I got to run.
Thanks, George.
Yeah, no problem. Let me apologize to Tyron in Brentwood, because we're not going to have time to get to him.
We have important matters to get to.
Oh, absolutely. God knows the world awaits this.
Kelly, are you ready?
Yes.
59-30. Ended with the win with the Buffalo Sabres, but they didn't win last night.
No,
this
they
was
sure
on
didn't.
Friday when you called this?
I guess. I don't really remember. So let's get to the business at hand. Kelly, we are calling the upset. For the second game in a row, we are taking the Minnesota Wild. I think the Wild are pretty good. And what I saw at home Saturday night, they dominated Colorado. Now, are they good enough to win this series? Probably not. Are they good enough to win tonight at home? I think they are. I'm saying take the Wild.
Okay.
Good luck.
All right.
Yeah, Kelly, I know.
As always, George.
Yeah. Good for your sincerity. Tony Basilio will join us tomorrow. So will others on this show. Until then, so long, everybody.
Now, here's your latest Fox 17 Code Red weather report.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. After sunshine increases going in toward the afternoon. Morning temperatures in the upper 50s and low 60s. Highs comfortable.